In an impassioned dissent to today's ruling on birthright citizenship and nationwide injunctions, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson warned of what lies ahead for our democracy now that her conservative colleagues have curtailed one of the only means of reining in potentially illegal actions from this or really any administration. Quote, "Disaster looms. What I mean by this is that our rights-based legal system can only function properly if the executive and everyone else is always bound by law. Today's decision is a seismic shock to that foundational norm, allowing the executive to violate the law at its prerogative with respect to anyone who has not yet sued carves out a huge exception, a gash in the basic tenets of our founding charter that could turn out to be a mortal wound. What is more, to me, requiring courts themselves to provide the dagger makes a mockery of the judiciary's solemn duty to safeguard the rule of law." Senator Chris Van Hollen is a Democrat of Maryland, and he joins me now to discuss all of this. Senator, thanks so much for joining me. Today, you
Catherine, good to be with you.
Great to see you. Today, you decried the court ceding power to what you call a lawless authoritarian president. What do you think the long-term practical implications of this ruling are or could be?
Well, I agree with Justice Jackson and with the dissent in this case, which is that it is a big blow to our ability to enforce our rights because our rights, our constitutional rights, our other legal rights are, of course, only as good as our ability to enforce them. And what this decision does is it throws up lots of additional roadblocks and obstacles to the remedy, right? Because when your constitutional rights are violated, this is going to make it much harder for individuals other than those who go to court and are themselves plaintiffs to have their rights adjudicated and restored. And so I do think this is a big blow, and it's another example of this Supreme Court that's been largely stacked by Donald Trump appointees, ceding their constitutional responsibilities and duties to the executive, when under Article 3, they're the ones that should be standing up and making sure that we can enforce our rights.
Well, not only ceding their power to rein in the executive, but the power of other courts to potentially stop the executive from taking illegal actions.
Absolutely. I mean the power of the judiciary. I mean the power of Article 3 courts. What the Supreme Court is done, and again stacked largely by these Trump appointees, is ceding their power under the Constitution, in fact, their responsibility as a judicial branch. They're ceding that to Donald Trump, who is a lawless president. So when you have a combination of a lawless president like Donald Trump, and then you have a Supreme Court that wants to essentially get rid of the remedies that we have when it comes to enforcing our rights, this is a very dangerous moment. So I agree with Judge Jackson in her strong language.